Welcome to lesson 2 on greatest common factor. So in order to learn about greatest common factor, we need to review what a factor is. A factor or factors are numbers that are multiplied together to get a product. For example, a factor times a factor equals a product. So the factors of 12 are 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 12 because 1 times 12 equals 12, 2 times 6 equals 12, and 3 times 4 equals 12. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to start by finding all the factors of the number 12. In order to do this, we're going to use a large F on our paper. If there's one not drawn for you, please go ahead and draw one now. We're also going to find all the factors of 18. So we're going to start by finding all the factors of 12. And we're going to put the number 12 outside the stem of the F. Okay, now we want to list all the factors of 12. To do so, we're going to utilize our factor chart, which you should all have from your teacher. And this factor chart is going to identify factor pairs. For example, for 12, we've got 1 and 12. That's a factor pair because 1 times 12 equals 12. So we're going to list 1 and 12 vertically, so up and down, inside of our factor F. Now 2 and 6 is another factor pair because 2 times 6 equals 12, so we're going to list them as a pair inside of our F. 3 and 4 are factor pairs because 3 times 4 equals 12, so again, list them as a pair inside of your F. Now we're going to find all the factors of 18. Again, feel free to utilize your factor chart if you wish. We're going to put the 18 outside of our F. We're going to put 1 and 18 up and down as a factor pair inside of the F. We're going to list 2 and 9 as a factor pair and 3 and 6 as a factor pair. Okay. Now, with finding the greatest common factor, we need to learn about what common factors are, first of all. So, the common factors of two numbers are all the numbers that are factors of both numbers. To find these, we have to find the factors of each number. Well, we already found the factors of 12 and 18. So now we want to ask ourselves, what are the common factors of 12 and 18? In order to do this, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to circle all of the common numbers that are inside of my F's. So 1 is a common number. 2 is a common number. 3 is a common number. 4 is not a common number. 12 is not a common number. 18 is not common. 9 is not common. Oh, but 6 is common. So we're going to go ahead and circle that. So the greatest common factor, or the GCF of two numbers, is the greatest common factor that the two numbers share. Okay, in order to find the GCF, or the greatest common factor, we're going to repeat the steps that we just did. We're going to place the two numbers that are in the problem outside of the F. In this case, we place the 12 and the 18 outside of the F. Now, step 2, we're going to use our factor chart to list out all of the factor pairs for each number. Again, we listed out all of the factor pairs, and we do this inside of the F. In a different color, we're going to circle only the common factors between each numbers. Then we're going to look for the largest circled number that we circled in step 3. This is our GCF. So if we look at our original problem, the largest of the circled numbers is the digit 6. So what is the GCF of 12 and 18? Our answer would be 6. Let's try another one. Let's find the GCF of 12 and 66. Well, remember, step 1 is to list the two numbers in the problem outside of our F. 12 and 66. Step 2 is to list all of the factor pairs for each number. So I'm going to start by listing all of the factor pairs for 12. I can use my factor chart. So I've got 1 and 12. I've got 2 and 6. I've got 3 and 4. Now I also want to list out all of the factor pairs for 66. Again, I can utilize my factor chart. I've got 1 and 66. I've got 2 and 33. I've got 3 and 22. And I've got 6 and 11. Okay, step 3 is to circle all of the common factors. So I'm going to circle all of the common numbers. 1 is common, 2 is common, 3 is common, 6 is common, and that's it. Step 4 is to find the greatest of the circled numbers, which is 6. Therefore, my GCF of 12 and 66 is 6. Why don't you go ahead and try the next 6 and 7 on your own. 6 is the exact same process with 18 and 30. And then 7 is still the same process, but here you're finding the common factors between 3 different numbers. So any of your circled common factors need to be common between all 3 of our F charts. Okay, go ahead and do so. You can pause the video now and then come back as soon as you're ready to check your answers. All right, thanks for coming back. So, if we're trying to find the greatest common factor between 18 and 30, I went ahead and found all of my factor pairs for 18 and 30. I circled all my common ones, and I found that my greatest common factor is 6. Now, I realize that the 3 examples that we just gave you all have a common factor of 6, but I promise you that that will not normally happen. Example 7, find the greatest common factor between 21, 35, and 49. So I list 21, 35, and 49 outside of my F's. Inside of my F's, I list all of the factor pairs for each number. I then circle only the common numbers, and my greatest common factor here would be 7. Please feel free to see your teacher if you have any questions. Thanks so much for watching, and go ahead and begin the homework now.